What is up, gamers? FCast and Chill here. Last episode we took on the JAD challenges and completed all of the combat achievements there, including the 6 JAD challenge and the 5 JAD challenge back to back. So with that under our belt, we're going to move on, and this episode we're going to be focusing on the Whisperer. So after doing those JAD challenges, I moved on to, focusing on getting better at the Desert Treasure 2 bosses because I wanted to complete the Awakened variants. So we're going to start off with the Whisperer. I haven't really killed this boss much, so we're going to have to grind it a lot for some of the drops. And, once we get pretty good at it, we're going to go for the Awakened kill. There's also lots of other combat achievements here, such as a speedrun time that we're going to be going for, but since we now are the proud owners of a Shadow from TOA, I'm expecting a lot of these to be not so bad. But we're going to dive right in and see how it goes. So the Whisperer is a pretty fun fight. It took me a little bit to get used to it. It's pretty straightforward once you get it down, but early on it can be a little tricky to deal with some of her specials, and I kept getting meleeed a lot. After she does one of her special attacks, then she'll launch a projectile at you that roots you in place, and if you don't run away far enough or freeze her, then she'll come up and melee you and just completely slap you. So that happened to me quite a bit early on, but eventually I did get it down, and I was having a lot of fun at this boss. Unfortunately, I did end up going pretty dry for what we needed here, but it was a pretty fun boss overall. So let me just show you what a kill looks like, and the speed time kill, because there's actually a combat achievement for beating it in less than 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and so that's one of the first things we're going to try to tackle here with our Shadow. So the way a standard kill works is you wake the Whisperer up by touching her, and then she knocks you back, and then you just start blasting her with your Shadow and moving out of the way of these tentacles while praying correctly. Then she has some special attacks that she'll use occasionally. One is you have to make sure you're walking on the correct dots. You can enter the Shadow Realm quickly to see where they are and then run over them. Another is pillars, so she'll set up a bunch of pillars and then knock them down, so you need to enter the Shadow Realm to see which ones have less and more health, so you can, basically be behind them. And then there's the attack with the chanters. So she, summons a bunch of things chanting. You have to enter the Shadow Realm and kill them, and then you can leave. And really, it's pretty straightforward. The Venator bow helps a ton with the guys that are chanting, because it bounces from one to the other and just shreds them completely. And then after the Whisperer does each of these special attacks, she will launch a projectile rooting you in place, as I said before. And if you just run away as this happens and just set your trident on or Shadow on long range and get a hit in, then you don't have to end up freezing her. You can just run away, and that's really it. So pretty straightforward fight. Once you get her HP down all the way, she'll enter her enrage phase, and this is the part that was giving me a bit of a pain point early on. So she'll change her attack style every 2 attacks. You have to keep switching back and forth between ranged and mage prayer, and the tentacles continue to pester you over and over again. So essentially what you could do is if you move 2 tiles in one direction and 1 to the side, then the tentacles will never hit you. So you just need to keep doing that movement pattern as you're praying correctly against her attacks. So really easily with the Shadow, there's a couple small tricks that we did to get the speed time. But the main thing is just having a Shadow and an Imbued Heart, because those are completely broken in combination. But one thing that we did to help with the speed time actually is we, when the dots came up that you have to run on, instead of entering the Shadow Realm, you just start running over them and just guess and hope you get the right pattern. And then you don't have to waste time going in and out of the Shadow Realm. So that's what I did here. And with that, you can see that we did end up getting our kill in 2 minutes and 3 seconds here. And you can see my PB, I actually already had a 2 minute 1 second. But like I said, with the Shadow and the Imbued Heart and some practice, the speed time is really not too bad. Another easy combat achievement from the Whisperer is entering the Shadow Realm for less than 6 seconds total for getting the kill. And so to do this, essentially, on the Pillar special, you just need to enter the Shadow Realm and leave immediately. You can even just tank the special with the guys chanting. You don't even need to kill them if you don't want to. And then you can also just guess on the dot puzzle. So I tried doing this combat achievement right when I was brand new to the Whisper, so I did die quite a few times going for it, but that was just because wasn't experienced at the boss. But eventually I did end up getting it, and there's Dark Memories. I can't believe that's a Grandmaster combat achievement, but we'll take it. You know, any easy one that we can get knocked off, not going to complain. As I was grinding the Whisperer at 208 kill count, I actually ended up getting the pet, which is a pretty sick pet. Like, you can see this Wisp pet following me around. It looks really nice. I'm really happy I got this one. Hopefully now we can get a Virtus top too, since that's the last piece of Virtus I'm missing. And of course I'm still looking for the Vestige and the Soul Reaper Axe piece from the Whisperer. But yeah, pretty sick to get that pet knocked off. My pet log's starting to get bigger and bigger, so I'm pretty happy. Here's another combat achievement knocked off that's just perfect Whisperer, and that's just killing the Whisperer 5 times in one trip without taking any avoidable damage. So again, you know, pretty hard at first, but once you get the fight down, it's pretty doable. So got that one knocked off too. And here at 717 kill count, we actually got the Siren Staff, and that is our last piece for the Soul Reaper Axe. So now I have everything I need to make a Soul Reaper Axe, which is super exciting. Especially, this was recorded before then, but there was a recent buff to the Soul Reaper Axe, so it's going to be super useful for Taub, and just Vardorvis and Duke as well. Because I still need to get the awakened kills for those bosses. So I'm super happy to have this done. It's such a sick flex on an Ironman having a completed Soul Reaper Axe, just because the pieces aren't tradable and you have to get all 4 of them to make it. But this is going to come in really handy, so pretty sick drop. And everyone, it finally happened at 956 Whisperer kill count. We still don't have the Vestige, but I did get a Virtus robe top. So I finally got a Mage robe top. I believe that was my 6th piece of Virtus, and you all know how dry I am for the Ancestral top. I'm sure you've seen my log. But yeah, I finally got a piece of Mage robe top, and so now this Arams that I've been wearing for an eternity can finally go in the bin. And yeah, I got a huge upgrade here, so that's amazing. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to get that because I just been so dry on these Mage tops, but it feels fucking amazing. We're pretty much good now. We still need the Bellator Vestige. Going pretty dry on that because it's 1 in 512 and has dry protection. But at least we got the Virtus top down. That's amazing. Now we just need to get that Vestige, and then we'll have a green log at Whisper. And finally, at over 2 times rate at 1040 kill count, we did end up getting the Bellator Vestige. And the reason I wanted this is it's going to come in really handy for Awakened, Vardorvis, and Duke. It's a pretty big DPS upgrade at both of them. And so now that is a Whisper green log, so you can see that I have all the drops here, including the pet. I ended up with 3 Siren Staffs too, which is a little wild. But enough for that. We're gonna go and try to do the Awakened variant now, because I feel like I've gotten pretty good at this boss. So if you're not aware, the Awakened versions are versions of the Desert Treasure 2 bosses that are way more challenging than the normal variants, and you have to use an Awakener's Orb to summon them. You can see in my Whisper log, I actually ended up with over 100 Awakener's Orbs from my grinding on all 4 of the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. So that means I have 103 attempts at all of the Awakened bosses combined. And if you beat them all, you get a cosmetic. You get you can turn your Torva armor into Blood Torva. Unfortunately, I don't have any Torva armor, but there's still Grandmaster combat achievements for beating all the Awakened bosses, so we're gonna have to do it. And I've heard these are incredibly hard, so we're gonna see how it goes. I'm not super confident, but Whisper is supposedly the easiest, so we're gonna start with that one and just try it out. So the first thing that you'll notice about the Awakened Whisper is instead of 900 HP, she has 2700, so that's 3 times the hit points, which is a lot more. Also, her attack patterns, you have to switch your prayers back and forth a lot more early on, and as you can see, there's a lot more tentacles coming at me. But again, if you use that pattern of moving 2 tiles one way and then 1 to the side after that, then you should be able to dodge her attacks. You also just have a lot less time to do some of the specials. So the special with, you know, all the dots on the ground, for example, or the special where she summons all the minions that are chanting. It's just pretty stressful, and there's very little room for error. Another really challenging thing about the Awakened Whisper is that when she summons the pillars, there's actually 5 different tiers of health on the pillars, and so you have to memorize 5 health bars and be able to go back and forth between all 5 pillars. On my first attempt here, you can see that I go into the Shadow Realm when the pillars spawn to memorize the health locations, and then when I leave the Shadow Realm, I get behind the lowest health pillar and attack the Whisper, and I accidentally attack her too early and run out and take a big fat hit and get all my sanity drained. So this first attempt was essentially dead in the water. I wanted to keep it going instead of teleporting out just to get some more experience, but when she summoned the chanting minions, I ended up going insane and dying. I actually didn't know what was going on and thought that I just died because I ran under her, but yeah, it's fine. That was a rough first attempt, but we're going right back in once we re-gear up, and hopefully the second awakened kill will go better. And so here it is. When I go into the Shadow Realm on the pillar special, the first thing I do is I look for the highest health pillar and identify which side of the room that's on. Then once I do that, then I look for the bottom 3 health pillars, 1, 2, and 3. So then once I've done that, I can leave the Shadow Realm, stand behind that first pillar, and then I know to move to the second one, because remember I memorized that 1, 2, and 3, and then move to the third one. And then now I know where the 5th pillar is, but I didn't know where the 4th one was, but all the other ones have gotten knocked down. So I have to stand here and then finally move over to that pillar that had full health. So that just helps a little bit, so you only have to memorize 4 pillars instead of all 5. But yeah, not bad at all. Another thing is you could see I'm using barrage spells, and right after she roots me in place, I have to cast a freeze to freeze her. If you don't do this, you're going to get slapped because she runs towards you instead of walking towards you after rooting you in place. So you're not able to just like back up enough and survive. But again, just back to moving, in my L-shaped pattern each attack and praying correctly. The biggest concern when fighting the Whisperer is running out of sanity. So when she summons her chanting minions, I actually only kill the ones that are saying Sanitas, because once you do that, then you'll get your sanity restored. So you can see I run around with my Venator bow and kill all those, and then immediately leave the Shadow Realm. And I'm going to take a hit for about 70 damage from the other ones because I didn't kill them. But the good news is I do get my sanity restored, and so then I have a lot of sanity going into the enrage phase at the end. When she summons the leeches on the ground, I first pop into the Shadow Realm to see where they are, memorize the pattern, and then just run it without attacking her. Typically, during a normal Whisper, you'll attack her in between your steps, but you don't have very much time for Awakened, so you just want to do it as fast as possible. Yeah, that's really it. This fight's just going so long. You can see she's still at over 1800 health, so hoping my Shadow will hit a little harder soon, but as long as I don't make mistakes, I should be able to keep going. And here's another pillar special. So again, I memorize where the biggest health pillar is, and then the bottom 3 ones, and then stand in that same pattern as before. Start with the low health one, then go to the second lowest, then third, then just go to the pillar that is not the high health one first, and then after that stand behind the highest health one, and you should be able to do that. So again, going pretty well, still playing well, not making really any mistakes yet. We got another chanting special here, so again, just going to kill the guys saying Sanitas, and then after that, get out of the Shadow Realm and tank a hit for 70 damage, just like last time. Then we have a third pillar special here, and again, it looks like she gave me the same pattern pretty much every time, which is kind of funny. But again, just doing that same method as before, identifying the high health pillar and then the lowest 3, and then doing that run. Pretty straightforward. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Red-Eyed Jedi. He was the guy that created these Awakened guides for all 4 Awakened bosses, and I did use his guides. I didn't really rely too heavily off his Whisperer one, but for the other bosses, huge help. And so huge shout out to him. Check his video out in the description here. But now we're down to about 700 HP left on the Whisper, and I just need my Shadow to pop off a little more and maybe get through another special attack or two, and then we should be able to get into the Enrage phase. And here's one more chanting special here where I kill all the Sanitas guys and then tank a hit for 70. Fortunately, I brought a lot of anglerfish, so I'm able to tank all these hits, but I am getting pretty low on food now. And that's going to enter the Enrage phase. So now with the Enrage phase, the Whisperer will switch attacks. Every attack she'll switch styles. So you just need to keep moving back and forth and changing your prayers. This was really stressful. You can see I actually misclicked there and accidentally put on Redemption, but luckily I didn't get hit. But yeah, we're just running back and forth, changing our prayers like a madman, trying to dodge all these tentacles. Very stressful. I was actually shaking here because I was kind of nervous. You know, it was my first time making it to the Enrage phase. But fortunately, it did work out for me. And the Shadow did go burr, and I ended up killing her. And you can tell by my reaction, I was pretty fucking excited and surprised.
Oh my god. Fucking gaming, guys. Holy shit. Second try? Holy fuck, dude. I was expecting that to take so much longer. Wow.
And yeah, like I said, that was my second try, and I ended up killing the Awakened Whisperer, so I was really shocked by that. But I do want to keep in mind, like I said before, this is the easiest of the Awakened bosses, and I really doubt any of the other three are going to go nearly as well. But yeah, we got the Awakened Whisperer knocked out, and with that, we actually have all the Whisperer combat achievements now. We got the speed times, we got the perfect kill, and we got the Awakened variant. So we're 1 out of 4 now on the Desert Treasure 2 bosses, and I'm going to be back soon to try to tackle Vardorvis. So now that we have the Bellator ring and the Soul Reaper axe, I'm thinking Vardorvis is next. So hopefully that won't be too bad, but yeah, feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and you can see me in the next episode fighting Awakened Vardorvis. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitch in the description if you ever want to watch me do any of this stuff live. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.